Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is just another video. I'm gonna start a series here. Just like it's like the perks of being cheap, basically. A lot of the stuff I have and own is used or thrown away equipment that I just kind of salvage. Today I'm gonna be talking about these disposable vapes that I find all over the place. So these and they're not just nicotine vapes, they have pot vapes too, and I find them I don't know, in the trash, around the street corners and stuff like that. I mean, you might see one, but so they're disposable, they're throwaway. You might have a friend that uses them. I mean, you can basically get them for free. And the thing of it is, these are actually they have a Lipo battery inside of them. It's a small battery, but it's still a battery, and they just get thrown away. And not only is it bad for the environment, there's a Lipo that could probably get a good 10 years of use that's being thrown away. So this video is just gonna delve into how to disassemble one of these and repurpose it as a battery, basically, for use in it could small quadcopters, small equipment, anything that needs a 1S battery. Basically, you can get out of one of these trashed things. I mean, you might have a bunch of them laying around. I mean, who knows? I'm not a big fan of them. And the disclaimer, I'm gonna have a disclaimer here because there's some dangerous things that we're gonna talk about. Lipo batteries, Lipo batteries are a fire hazard. When charging them, you want to always keep an eye on them. Most people will say you don't want to charge just like, they think I'm crazy for taking these apart, basically. And maybe I am, but honestly, I've been messing with Lipo batteries, lithium polymer batteries, for a while now, and I mean, as long as you charge them safely and store them safely and keep an eye on them at basically all times, then you're not gonna have any problems. They're basically the same cell as in your like your tinywhoops and stuff like that. But in any case, yeah, we're gonna take this thing apart and make it into a battery, or get the battery out of it at least. So you want to use some caution, because they have these little wires in here that you could short out, and you could actually get that battery going hot. So you want to pay attention to, when you're pulling it apart, that you're not touching any wires together or arcing any wires onto this. I think this is an aluminum body here. The easiest way I've found to take these apart is actually just take this bottom out here with a pair of pliers or something. This might work. We're gonna see. Sorry, I didn't mean to shake the camera. It's the screen keeps going off. So anyway, I'm gonna pry this. Okay, I got the end cap off there, and then on the other side, you gotta watch this, because sometimes they're glass, but you get this other side off as well. And the glass, I'm gonna actually do this over a trash can real quick so I don't have glass everywhere. And there might be a better way to do it by screwing it off, but basically I just took my pliers and pulled to one side, and that was enough to just pull this out. And if you can see in there, there's a little silicone gasket and then a little circuit board there. That's when you suck the vape or whatever, or you pull the vape with your lungs, it actually activates a switch, and then it turns on the vape. I think you can blow on it and it'll actually light up the thing. But in any case, you take your flathead screwdriver and stick it in there. I'm gonna try to pay attention here, and you kind of just pry that silicone thing out of there. Easier said than done. Okay, there, it's coming. So, alright, so once you get it to the end there, you can kind of grip it with your fingers, or maybe even some needle nose pliers. And that silicone, I don't know if you can see that, I don't know if it's focused, but that silicone, see, it's starting to come out already. That's actually the battery right there. So you start to pull that out, and you don't want to rip these wires out, because it'll actually rip it out of the battery if you do it that way. So, sorry, my screen keeps turning off. I need to put it on a different, yeah, the timer on it. Anyway, you can start pulling that battery out, and it'll start to come out. See that? And you want to be kind of gentle with it, because it is a Lipo battery, and it could, you know, start getting hot if you touch those wires together. But basically, you can just keep pulling on it gently, nudging it back and forth. Sometimes this has a wire on the end of it here, so you might have to pull the other end cap off. You just take your flathead and or needle nose or whatever you have, and just pull that part out. Maybe I should have pulled it that way. So okay, so now the battery's moving pretty freely. I don't know if you can see that. It's starting to slide out of there. So what I'm gonna do is just cut this single black wire here. There's my screen again, and pull that battery out just like that. And now all this stuff is pretty much waste. I mean, that's an aluminum tube. You might be able to use that for something, but aluminum tube, brass fittings, I mean, there's some nice little, you could just throw it in for scrap metal too if you really wanted to. But what we want is this battery here, and I don't know if you can see that, but it has a code on it. It tells you the watt hour. It's only 74 watt hour, so I mean, it's not 0.74, so it's like 100 milliamp max, but it's still a battery nonetheless. And what you want to do is try to separate these wires so they're not, you know, you always want to keep them so they're not touching each other, or else they'll short out. But you basically are going to trim, cut the red wire, this one won't cut the red wire, and cut the black wire. There's actually a blue wire too, but that just looks like it's part of the, actually you don't even need to cut that. See, it's got some tape there. Pull this tape off. Pull that tape off. Kind of just pull these wires away, see what you got going on there, and then trim it accordingly. I mean, if you want, you can leave it on there if you need a small lead like that, but I'm gonna trim mine off. I don't know if you can see. Just trim it off right at the solder tab there. It has a nickel tab, just like normal Lipo batteries. This is the negative, obviously it has a big black mark, and this is the positive. I mean, if you didn't know which side is what, they don't always have this tape on them. So if you didn't know what side is what, I'm gonna hit the screen again, okay? So warning, it's gonna shake. Oh my god. Okay. So if you don't know what your polarity is, you just take your handy dandy multimeter, put it on to DC voltage. I'm gonna see if you can see that there. Put it on the DC voltage and put your test leads on both ends, and you'll see there it's gonna read, it reads negative 3.75 volts. So it being negative, you can see I got my negative lead on the positive. I did that on purpose to show you. So if you have it the wrong way, it's going to show up negative. So then you want to just flip it over, put your red one there, black one there, and it has a positive number. I just flicked it. It has a positive number on the multimeter there. That way you know the polarity. This side is black, this side is red. I mean, it's obvious because they marked it for us, which is great. But so you know what side is what polarity is what. It has a 3.75 volt charge, which is technically like a storage charge. So next thing you do is you take your soldering iron and you solder on your leads, basically. Your whatever kind of end you're gonna put on it, be it I don't know why you would put a Dean's connector on it, or the common JST connector. You know, you can put just solder your ends on. I'm not actually gonna do it on this one because I'm gonna use this for something else. But all you do now is you have your battery and you solder your ends on, and then you can even put in a heat shrink tube, and then basically you have something like this. This one, I don't know if this is longer. It might just be from a longer e-cig or whatever vape, but it's the same exact thing. It's one of those 2 batteries, and this is one I harvested earlier this year that I've been using and testing and different things. And just to give you a real world example, so this battery, it's just a little bit bigger